Hi, good day. I am Frederick Pradas, and today I will discuss about business logic. So let's start. First, what is business logic? So business logic refers to the logical and algorithm serving as the foundation code in business software. The algorithms involved in business logic performs behind the scenes data processing that is invisible to the users but is critical to keeping things running smoothly in a modern way. So business logic, it is a custom rules or algorithms that handle the exchange of information between a database and user interface. Business logic is essentially the part of a computer program that contains the information in the form of business rules that defines or constrains how a business plan or business operates. Such business rules are operational policies that are usually expressed in true or false binaries. Business logic can be seen in the workflows that it might support, such as sequences or steps that specify in details in the proper flow of information or data, and therefore decision making. Business logic is a domain logic. So business logic um, longer exist at a higher level than the type of code that is used to maintain basis computer infrastructure. To put another way, business logic is a real world business rules put into computer code and shown in a computer program via user interface. Business logic is most evident in its role in creating workflows that pass data between users and software systems. So business logic determines how data may be shown, stored, created, and altered. It provides a system of rules that guides how business objects, parts of software that controls how data is transported, work with one another. So business logic also guides how business objects within software are accessed and updated. It existed at a higher level than the type of code that is used to maintain basic computer interfaces, such as how databases displayed to a user or as basic system infrastructure. Now, how about business logic and business rules? Because these two things are oftenly compared and are mistaken with each other. They're often confused. People have this basic conception that business logic and business rules are the same, but they are not. So business rules are useless without business logic to determine how data is calculated, changed, and transmitted to users and software. But without business rules to create a framework, business logic cannot exist. Business logic is any part of a business enterprise that makes up a system or process and procedures, whereas anything else is an example of business rules. Now, business logic is often mistaken for something that encapsulate the business rules implemented in a system. There is an important difference between the two. Business rules are a formal expression of business policy, while business logic determines how this policy is implemented as a process. For example, the application of VAT or income invoice in a business rule, but the calculation involved in applying it are implemented as business logic. The catch is that the separation between business logic and the other parts of the system is not necessarily that clear. Many business rules need to be implemented across more than one tier. For example, a business rule that indicates the negative figures should always be presented on financial reports affects both data processing and report writing. For example, presentation and business logic. This one of the drawbacks of the tiered or layered architectures that seek to isolate business logic into a separate tier. It can be difficult to meaningfully segregate functionality into a self-contained tier depending on the type of processing that is being carried out. Over the long term, this business logic often leaks across tier boundaries to the implementation of business rules becomes scattered across a system. This gives a rise to anti-patterns such as shotgun surgery, where any change in a business file requires numerous changes in different parts of the system. So that's the difference between business logic and business rules. Again, business rules are a formal expression of business policy, while business logic determines how this policy is implemented as a process. So there is a thick line of difference between the business logic and business rule. Now, how about the examples? The example of the difference of the business logic versus the business rules. A credit card issuer's business logic may be specified that out of the state credit card transaction above a certain limit, say $500, may be flagged as suspicious and the issuer contracted contacted as soon as possible to confirm the authenticity of the transaction. So in this example, the policy of flagging such transaction is an example of business rule. So the policy is the business rule. The actual process of actual the actual process of flagging the transaction is an example of business logic. So the policy is the rule, while the actual process of flagging the transaction is the business logic. So that's the difference given this example. Given that millions of credit card transactions are conducted every single day, business logic enables such as transactions to be checked and processed in an efficient and timely manner. So, so, in conclusion, business logic it is within the structure of the system. So business logic basically runs the system, while the business rules overviews the system or the operation. So business rules or the business policy, it's like it's the shell of the system, while the business logic is the flesh of the system. It is the working process of the system, while the business rule is the shell and the parameters, the standards of the business operation. So the business logic will be assessed by the business rules, where the business logic will have the standards of the business rules, while the business rules cannot function without the business logic because all of the information, all of the process of the operation of the business comes from the business logic. So that's business logic and how it is different from the business rules. So that's the end of my short presentation. Again, I am Frederick Pradas, and thank you for listening. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.